the most humiliating ordeal of my life. But if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, so be it.
That I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons.
I get the breakfast ready for the children in the morning around 8:30, like that, 9 o'clock. And they're having breakfast and time goes by and no one knew.
I can't remember exactly who I wound up calling back to see how things were going. And that's when they told me he had passed.
He had passed.
Yes.
Black artists have been taken advantage of completely. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice.
Jim Carrey has always been the type to say exactly what's on his mind, and now it looks like he's cracking open one of Hollywood's deepest secrets. What had Oprah Winfrey and Diddy allegedly shook when it came to Michael Jackson? Let's get into it.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless.
Word on the street is, Jim Carrey claims Michael wasn't just a music legend. He was a man with receipts, seeing through the industry's glitz and exposing the
Tradition of great performers from Sammy Davis Jr. to James Brown to Jackie Wilson. They usually are broken, torn, and usually just sad. And the story is very sad in the end because the companies take advantage of them.
From the jump, Michael Jackson's 1993 sit-down with Oprah Winfrey was a whole spectacle. To his millions of fans, it seemed like a moment for him to set the record straight and connect with the people. But for those hip to Hollywood's darker side, that interview felt more like a trap, like a calculated move to tear him down before he could spill some of the industry's deepest secrets. Was Oprah in on it? Some folks think so. A lot of people believe she was getting pressure from powerful industry players who needed Michael to stay silent.
But when we were here the last time shooting the commercial, you were like in between shots, running off.
So what really went down? Oprah Winfrey pulled up to Neverland Ranch for a high-profile sit-down with Michael Jackson, one that ended up being the most watched interview in TV history. The whole thing was supposed to give Michael a chance to shut down the wild rumors that had been swirling around him since the 80s. We're talking claims that he wanted to look white, that he was trying to change his gender, that he bought the Elephant Man's bones, slept in an oxygen chamber, married Elizabeth Taylor, had an eating disorder, and even that his best friend was a psychic monkey. And that's just scratching the surface. On paper, the interview was supposed to clean up his public image and let him speak his truth. But things took a turn real quick when Oprah started coming with invasive questions and pushing back on his answers. She kicked things off by questioning his appearance, straight up asking about plastic surgery. Michael admitted to getting a nose job, but shut down the idea that he had altered anything else. He also revealed that he had vitiligo, a skin condition that causes loss of pigmentation.
He's a mean, he's a racist, and he's very devilish.
Oprah wasn't exactly buying Michael's explanation and kept pushing for more details. If you really watch that interview, you'll catch how she kept cutting him off, almost like she didn't want him to fully break down why his skin had changed.
That's why they worked even harder to find a way to silence me. What happens when you're the greatest at the beginning? Nobody wants you to open up for them because you're going to make them look inferior.
She cut him off again when Michael tried to open up about how the whole situation deeply hurt him, almost like his feelings didn't matter in that moment.
You are not taking anything to change the color of your skin.
Oh God, no.
You did not purposely.
We're trying to control it, and using makeup evens it out because it makes blotches on the skin.
Oprah then shifted gears, bringing up Michael's relationship with his father, Joe Jackson, who had long been accused of being harsh and controlling. Michael, once again, admitted that his father had been physically and emotionally tough on him, but made it clear that he still loved him and didn't want to upset him. Instead of showing understanding, Oprah questioned Michael's loyalty to his father and even suggested he needed therapy to deal with his past trauma. But the moment that really got people talking was when she started prying into his romantic life. Out of nowhere, she hit him with the ultimate personal question. Was he a virgin? Michael revealed that he was dating actress Brooke Shields but refused to answer, calling it a private matter and saying he held old-school values. That should have been the end of it, but Oprah wasn't letting it go. She threw out hints that Michael was hiding something, almost like she was trying to make him squirm. And if that wasn't enough, she pushed even further, asking why he enjoyed spending time with young ones. Michael explained that he found comfort in their innocence, since his own childhood had been stripped away by fame. He said inviting kids to his ranch was about bringing them joy. But Oprah kept pressing, implying something shady was going on, and then just bluntly asked if he ever shared his bed with them. At this point, Michael's fans were livid. They felt Oprah was being straight up disrespectful, insensitive, and completely biased. To them, she wasn't trying to hear Michael's truth. She was setting him up, twisting his words, and fueling the very rumors that had haunted him for years. And the timing? Suspicious. Just a few months after the interview aired in the summer of '93, the first major accusations against Michael hit the headlines, staining his legacy forever. Then years later, another storm hit, Leaving Neverland, a 4-hour documentary where James Safechuck and Wade Robson accused Michael of horrific things from their childhood. And guess who popped up again? Oprah. She didn't just support the documentary. She went as far as interviewing the accusers, making it clear where she stood.
Skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin is something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
That whole chain of events had folks convinced. Oprah didn't just turn her back on Michael, she betrayed him. Fans did not hold back, calling her out with comments like, Oprah was jealous of Michael. He was beautiful, charismatic, kind, talented, and had a strong, loving family. Everything she wasn't. One person even said, I can't stand Oprah. She always pushes her way of thinking on vulnerable people. Some of her network's shows are okay, but her bully tactics? Nah. She acts like if you don't think, live, or act the way she does, then you're beneath her. But what really rubbed people the wrong way? The fact that Oprah used her platform to push a hit piece on Michael, even though he was never found guilty of anything. Meanwhile, when it came to her actual friend Harvey Weinstein, who was found guilty and sentenced to prison, she didn't have that same energy. And it wasn't just the fans. Michael's family wasn't staying quiet either. His older brother, Jermaine Jackson, straight up called out Oprah and the media after Leaving Neverland dropped, saying, so many in the media, including Oprah, blindly ran with this documentary, shaping a narrative with no interest in facts, proof, or credibility. We faced this same mess back in 2005. The jury saw through it. The trial proved Michael's innocence, period. Then there's Taj Jackson, Michael's nephew, who actually grew up around one of the accusers, Wade Robson. He was stunned at the lies being told and didn't hold back when it came to Oprah. He said, I've seen this before. Oprah was all up in my grandma's face, acting like she wanted to help clear Michael's name. But at the end of the day, she does what she needs to do for ratings. To me, it's the ultimate betrayal. Other Jackson family members have spoken out too, and unsurprisingly, Janet Jackson shares the same feelings. She firmly believes Oprah wanted to destroy Michael's career and legacy. And if anyone would know, it's Janet. Out of all his siblings, Michael was closest to her by far.
As I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear always you bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons.
So if anyone is carrying the deepest pain and anger over Oprah dragging Michael's name through the mud, best believe it's Janet Jackson.
That's the situation here. So please, when people see something like that.
I just want to get this straight. You are not taking anything to change the color of your skin.
Oh, God.
Now that Oprah is getting called out for tearing down Black entertainers, multiple reports say sources close to the Jackson family, including Janet, still hold a grudge. They haven't forgotten how she spearheaded that smear campaign against Michael, and at this point, they believe an apology is way past due.
Interesting things about Michael and his particular situation is that the started long before we ever met him.
According to Jim Carrey, Michael wasn't just speaking up for himself. He was pulling back the curtain on the entire entertainment industry, exposing the dark dealings he had witnessed firsthand. Michael wasn't just fighting to protect his name. He was calling out a system, questioning its ethics, and refusing to play the role they wanted for him. But the more he spoke, the more powerful figures saw him as a threat. People couldn't help but notice how Oprah's interview felt less like a conversation and more like a setup. Her questions weren't just tough, they were leading, almost like she had an agenda to push. Instead of letting Michael clear his name, she seemed determined to plant doubt, subtly mocking him and steering the narrative in a way that benefited her powerful connections. And that's where things get real interesting, because Oprah wasn't the only one allegedly feeling threatened by Michael. Jim Carrey has also hinted that Diddy was caught up in this mess too. Michael knew things, dangerous things, especially about Diddy's connections, particularly through Clive Davis. And if you know anything about Clive, you know he's a powerhouse in the music industry, the kind who pulls strings behind the scenes. Michael had spoken in cryptic messages before, warning about the hidden hands controlling artists and using them as puppets. And Diddy? With his meteoric rise and undeniable influence, he wasn't just in the game. Many believe he was playing it. And then there's the biggest mystery of all, Michael Jackson's death. Conspiracy theories have swirled for years, but one of the most chilling claims, that Diddy was with Michael in his final moments, speaking to him before it all ended. That detail alone has sparked major speculation, making people wonder if his passing was truly what it seemed, or if there was something far more sinister at play. Hollywood has always had its secrets, but the whispers have been getting louder. There's talk of a hidden force, a shadowy group pulling strings, making sure certain truths never see the light of day. And if Michael did know too much, was that the real reason they needed him gone?
Growing up.
Mike. Yeah, we were incredibly close.
At the center of all this speculation, two of the most iconic names in music, Michael Jackson and Sean Diddy Combs. Their legacies are tangled up in a web of secrets, whispers, and mysteries that refuse to fade. And the deeper you dig, the more this story starts to shift from mere rumors to something far more complex, challenging everything we think we know about fame, power, and the forces that operate behind closed doors. Now, this ain't about confirming or denying. This is about exploring the narratives that have had folks talking for years. And one name that keeps popping up, Fahim Muhammad. For those who don't know, Fahim was Michael Jackson's head of security, the man who had a front row seat to everything happening in Michael's final days. Naturally, that alone has made people wonder just how much he really knows. But here's where it gets even messier. Fahim later became linked to none other than Diddy, particularly through his son, Justin Combs. Now, Justin grew up in the world of luxury, power, and influence, thanks to his father's empire. And the fact that Fahim has played a role in both Michael's and Diddy's lives? Yeah, that's got people raising their eyebrows. Some even believe Fahim could have been the bridge between these industry heavyweights, quietly moving behind the scenes. And the theories don't stop there. There's wild talk that Diddy may have used Fahim to keep tabs on Michael. Some folks even speculate that Diddy could have had a direct hand in Michael's downfall, orchestrating things to maintain his own control and influence in the industry.
I would never do something like that. But I'm still guilty by association.
According to her, the silence ain't just suspicious, it's telling. She even had the nerve to say, "This case is bigger than Jeffrey Epstein's, and y'all know how messy that situation was." She ain't stopping there, though. Sis claimed that the same people allegedly covering up for Diddy's son's involvement in a shooting also had ties to Michael Jackson's former head of security, the very person who was present when MJ took his last breath. Now, if that doesn't make you raise an eyebrow, I don't know what will. Candace flat out suggested that Hollywood and even politicians are being blackmailed into staying quiet. She hopped on social media and doubled down, tweeting that Diddy's case is being buried because too many powerful people have something to lose. She's painting a picture of a very dark industry where folks will do whatever it takes to keep their secrets locked away. And let's talk about Clive Davis for a sec. The legendary music mogul has worked with both Diddy and Michael, but let's keep it a buck. Michael was never one to play by Clive's rules. In fact, MJ straight up called out the industry's shady dealings, and Candace is hinting that maybe, just maybe, that's why he ended up on so many people's hit lists. Michael knew too much and refused to be controlled. Now, here's where it gets real messy. Jim Carrey, yes, that Jim Carrey, has been out here saying that Michael had even more dirt on Diddy and his industry connections. Carrey's sources claim MJ knew just how these executives operated, and that he wasn't afraid to expose them. Could it be that Diddy, Clive Davis, and even Oprah had something to gain from keeping Michael silent? Look, we all remember how MJ's last few years were a straight-up circus. The lawsuits, the scandals, the constant scrutiny. But was all that just a coincidence? Or was it deliberately orchestrated to break him down and keep him quiet? The more you connect the dots, the more this thing looks like a full-blown power play. Michael wasn't just throwing shade at the industry. He was calling out specific people, hinting at real wrongdoing. And let's not forget, MJ himself was paranoid about certain things, and his family, especially Janet, believes he had every reason to be when we look at the big picture. It's giving Hollywood puppet masters. It's giving deep industry secrets. And it's giving Michael was never meant to tell his truth. And now that Candace Owens is putting the pieces together and calling out Diddy...
Do you think Oprah betrayed Michael?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. And I feel like she betrayed not just him, but my family.
This is about to get real interesting. As Michael Jackson found himself caught up in some heavy allegations, the pressure hit a breaking point when he turned himself in just weeks later. It was a dark chapter in his life, and the weight of it all was undeniable. For someone whose entire existence had played out under the media's microscope, the sudden loss of Michael Jackson on June 25, 2009, sent shockwaves across the world. After years of messy headlines overshadowing his legendary music career, it finally seemed like he was ready to reclaim his throne. He had locked in a major 50-night residency at London's iconic O2 Arena with his highly anticipated comeback show, This Is It, promising fans a next-level celebration of his legacy.
No one knew.
I can't remember exactly who I wound up calling back to see how things were going, and that's when they told me he had passed.
He had passed.
Yes.
What fans didn't know at the time was just how much Michael was struggling behind the scenes. His team was in a race against time, trying to get him stage ready while dealing with his mounting health concerns between battling relentless insomnia and a growing dependency on medication. Michael was also working to keep up a proper diet. And when it comes to what he ate in those final 24 hours, there's been a lot of conflicting stories. But the truth behind his last meals reveals just how much effort was being made to keep him going during those crucial final days.
You were trying your best to comfort her. You were Auntie Janet at that moment? When she turned to you, did you just want to scoop her up?
In one chilling moment, Michael himself warned, "They're trying to destroy me." But was this more than just paranoia? Was he sending a signal to the world that he was battling forces far more powerful than anyone realized? And the biggest question of all, could Oprah and Diddy have been part of the very machine Michael was trying to expose? According to Jim Carrey's inside sources, they both had reasons to feel threatened. Both had motives to keep him quiet. So was Michael's downfall orchestrated? That's it for today, but trust, this story is far from over. Until next time, stay woke, stay curious, and stay questioning. Goodbye for now.